Welcome to part 4 of Look to the Olympics. Prophetic message. This is July 30th, 2024. And I want to jump on into this. I don't know how many parts I'll cover tonight, but I'll get as much of this done tonight as I can. But I do have to get some rest. We all, some of us do still have to work. Bills do not pay themselves. We have to work. And life is tough. What are you going to do if the government says you can't have what is yours anymore? Your land, your cars, your house. If you don't take the mark of the beast and they take everything away from you, what would you do? Have you given that any thought, really? What you would do, how you would live? No, most of you have not given it any thought because you never really thought you would see this day come, right? You were prepared to live out your days in the life of luxury like you've been doing so far. And you keep climbing and clamoring and clinging on to as much of this stuff as you could get. I want to show you something. Give me just one moment. Do you see this? This has become an idol. This is an idol. You see all these stars? Many of you love the old glory. And we were taught in school to be patriotic and to pledge our allegiance to a flag. Let me ask you a simple question. If Jesus was here today, do you think he would pledge his allegiance to a flag? Do you think that God would pledge his allegiance to a flag? If you just answered in your mind, no, you would be correct. So why are you doing it? There's the rub, right? There's the rub. Yes. Why are you pledging your allegiance to this? And now with that question asked, I want to remind you of some scriptures. I'm hoping these will sink in and that they will actually hit home. I really am. I am hoping they will sink deep. Let's look at Amos 5:25 through 27 again. Have you offered unto me sacrifices and offerings in the wilderness 40 years, O house of Israel? 26, verse 26. But you have borne the tabernacle of your Moloch, and shin your images, the star of your God, which ye made to yourselves. Therefore I will cause you to go into captivity beyond Damascus, saith the Lord, whose name is the God of hosts. Acts 7:42 through 43 says, Then God turned and gave them up to worship the hosts of heaven, as it is written in the book of the prophets. O ye house of Israel, have ye offered to me slain beasts and sacrifices by the space of the 40 years in the wilderness? That's a question. Yea, ye took up the tabernacle of Moloch and the star of your god Rempram, figures which ye made to worship them. Figures which you made to worship. And I will carry you away beyond Babylon. I wanted to discuss this a little bit. I wanted to discuss this a little further before getting back into the video. When I was a child, we were taught to say the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. And we were taught to pray in school. I loved the praying part. I never understood the pledge. We were taught all through school to be patriotic. The nations and leaders set themselves up to cast God asunder, their bands asunder from God. And this is what you're not understanding, because you're living in Babylon. And you think that they have your best interests at heart. No, they do not. They have their interests at heart and their agenda. It is time that you realize that. You've been living in doing exactly as the beast told you for a long time. You have been worshiping your idols. You've been taught to worship man and not God. You worship your stars on TV. And I would like to speak onto the Christian musicians, those of you that are into the gospel music industry. And I'd like to say to you, go back to your roots of gospel music. God doesn't need a circus to lead people to Him. He doesn't need smoke and mirrors and glitz and glamour. He needs an honest person who will tell the truth. People cannot come to God. You cannot bring people to God by using the world to do it. Because if you use the world to attract people, all you're going to attract is the world. Remember that, churches. If you use the world to attract people, all you're going to attract is the world. If you put TVs in your churches and do movie nights, or if you put video games in your churches and do video game nights, if you put computers or what have you in your churches and offer these things and do such nights or what have you. All you are going to do is attract the world. That's all you're going to do is attract the world. And if you put the flag in your church, all you're going to do is incur God's wrath. I'm talking about the American flag or any kind of flag with stars on it. Because that is a symbol that you wash up Moloch. You best be hearing the word of God. That is a symbol that you wash up Moloch. It's not me that you need to believe. It's the word of God. And I just read it to you. Out of Acts even. That's the New Testament. For you people who are weird about the old. You best be reading Amos. And you best be reading the book of Acts. You best be reading the entire Bible. And you're out of time. So how you think you're going to get this done? Because you put God last in everything. Reading His Word comes last in your life. You will read a romance novel. You will read these other foolish books. You will read everything except for the Word of God. You'll sit down and you'll watch foolish movies, or you'll sit down and you'll watch movies about God, and you think that's good enough. No, those movies are not in accordance with the Word of God. They do not link directly up. Those movies were designed to lure people away from God. How could they possibly teach you anything about God? Your hearts are far from Him. You're worshiping Moloch, and you don't want to give these things up for the God who died for you. You would die before you give up your guns and your flag. But you wouldn't die before you give up your God. God knows your heart. The Lord has tried you. He knows what you will do. He has put you in situations at various times to give you an opportunity to talk about Him and to tell about Him. And what have you done? You wouldn't say a word. You wouldn't open your mouth. You were afraid to speak. Afraid someone wouldn't like you. We're not supposed to be liked. If the world if the world likes you, you're in trouble. If the world likes you, you are nothing like Jesus. Because if you're like the Lord, they're going to reject you no matter if you speak or not. I could just walk in a room and people automatically start hating me. I don't talk much. But my very presence seems to irritate spirits. And worldly people have spirits. Just my being there offends them. If your being present in a worldly place does not offend people, you better find out why. I'll see you in the next part.